start where we left off yesterday. Dr. Wallander, thank you so much for your time. I thought it was a very productive discussion. I intend to support all of your nominations, unless you mess up here, but I don't think that's going to happen. Dr. Wallander, I want to go back to Russia and the discussion that we had yesterday with their current posture and their focus on the Ukraine. I'm particularly interested with the negotiations, which to me seem that they've drawn an untenable position for us to move towards. But there's some discussion right now that maybe we should think about our activities, maybe our operations tempo in terms of work that we're doing with some of our NATO partners and allies in that area. Do you think that that's productive to say that we would actually potentially reduce the current levels of activity, or why should that be on the table as a discussion for negotiation?
Senator, I share your concern about the messaging surrounding that reporting. I would highlight that were Russia to cease its dangerous, destabilizing, and problematic activities and exercises that, right now we're looking at the headlines, but this is a constant problem of Russian activities in the Black Sea, the Baltic region, and now the focus on Ukraine's borders. That would be a desirable end state. If a negotiation were focused on Russia coming back into compliance with its already existing commitments under the Conventional Forces in Europe agreement, that could be a positive for European security and Ukraine. But I share your concern that starting from now kind of seeds what Russia, the dangerous activities that Russia has already been engaged with, and I wouldn't support starting from that base.
We also talked a little bit about Nord Stream. We're going to have a vote later today on sanctions. We have a couple of proposals here. One is sanctions would be imposed if Russia invades Ukraine. The other one is to go ahead and put them in place now. What are the merits of either of those two proposals or concerns that you would have with them?
Senator, I first want to make clear that I fully support the availability of really serious sanctions in a toolkit for dealing with Russian coercive abilities.
There are some people here that think they don't work. So, go ahead and continue with your answer with that.
It's a complicated question. What do they work to achieve? And they don't always. I think skepticism is well merited, and we have to be modest in our understanding. And that's why I would emphasize sanctions as part of a toolkit. Sanctions also can be used to reduce Russian capabilities to be able to coerce and deploy coercive and aggressive threats against neighbors and allies. So I am not fully read into the various proposals and which the sequencing of them, but as a matter of policy, I support the judicious use of sanctions both for ongoing erosion of Russian capabilities and leverage and as a deterrent, element of an effective deterrent.
And I'm not sure if you can answer this, but just based on public reports from experts, do you believe if Ukraine decided to, or if Russia decided to invade Ukraine, that their objectives would be swift and decisive?
Senator, I have a long career of studying the Soviet and then the Russian military, and it is my assessment that the Ukrainians would fight admirably and well and be quite effective in imposing enormous costs on Russian military forces. But the signals we're hearing from the Kremlin suggest exactly what you point to, which is a potential for a decisive and swift military strike, and it's very concerning.
Thank you. Dr. Plum, I'm going to submit some questions for the record, but in my capacity as ranking member on Personnel Subcommittee, I look forward to working on things that we can do to fill the gap. You're going to have, we have a resource problem in terms of being able to compete with the private sector on the best and brightest for cyber threats, so I look forward to working with everyone in DOD that's focused on the issue. And Ms. Dalton, I'm going to just submit a couple of questions for the record on particularly China and Latin America. I just got off of a conference call with business here that's trying to focus on rare earth mineral extraction, a number of other things. There's a disturbing trend in South America and Latin America with Chinese investment threatening, actually even making what are already fragile supply chains more fragile. But I'll submit those for the record. I look forward to supporting all of your nominations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tillis. Let me recognize Senator Rosen, please.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Reed. Thank you for holding this important hearing, and I want to thank the nominees for being here today, your willingness to serve. So we'll just get right into it about cybersecurity, of course, utmost top of everybody's mind. And I'd like to focus particularly on NATO and cybersecurity, an issue I raised with Admiral Grady during his confirmation hearing, and one that came up consistently when I had the chance to visit NATO headquarters on a congressional delegation in November. So, Dr. Wallander, as you know, cybersecurity is part of NATO's core task of collective defense.